Hey guys, this is Mitch. Welcome back. So it's a new week. We're taking a look at a new book, and we're going to look at the kind of book we haven't really looked at in a while. We've kind of been all over the place the last few weeks. A while back, we did Magnus, which had good writing and solid artwork, although, not flashy. From there, we went to Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man, which was kind of the opposite. Very flashy art, kind of piss-poor storytelling. Then we went to Shadowhawk 2, which was just kind of meh all over. And then after that, Lobo's Back, which was, again, the opposite. It was kind of great all over. But it's been a while since we hit something truly dumb with largely indefensible artwork, I think. So we're getting back to our roots with some Liefeld. It's X-Force number 2. Welcome to X-Force Week, everybody. Strap in. But before we do it, let's just take care of the necessaries. If you enjoy the channel, if you feel like you want to support me a little bit as an artist, what you can do in the description, there's a link to my Patreon. And if you subscribe there, that gives you access to everything I do. So these videos, before they make it to YouTube, usually a week or so in advance, as well as all of the Blood Force stuff. So the finished pages, the finished comics, and some Patreon exclusives as well. Also, if you go over to my Instagram, you can DM me there for some commissions, and I do drop the occasional artwork. So, X-Force number 2. We haven't hit Rob in a long-ass time. I'd say the last time we hit a Rob book was before I was doing 4 revisits a week. And so that would have been Deathmate Red back in June. And I like to stay consistent if I can with my stance that I am bewildered by the popularity of Liefeld. I've never gotten it. Didn't get into it as a kid. I kind of have considered that in order for Liefeld to get his hooks in you, he had to kind of get you young. You had to pick up a Liefeld book when you were like 7 or 8. And just be swept away by all of the screaming and lines and punching and not realize that this artwork kind of sucks. And the comics are unreadable. So that's kind of changed a little bit here and there. I hear people who were young back then but didn't like him. I've also heard of some people who were a bit older and got into it, and yeah, again, just got swept up in the energy, I suppose. But yeah, no, I've never seen anything remotely redeemable about a Liefeld book. Maybe this is the one that changes my mind, eh? I mean, potentially. This is after he's been drawing on a pretty much monthly schedule for New Mutants for, it was a little bit over a year. So he's gotten some time to work out some kinks, some of them. So he's down to the kinks he's going to keep. Ooh, that sounds like a different video. So let's get down to X-Force number 2. Right? Right. All right, so we're going to start off with the cover here. This is September of 1990, of course. And we're going to get Kane, which is a Rob creation. You can tell by the half jacket and the little gloves and the lack of anything else going on in his costume. And this one is the second appearance of Deadpool. Actually, he's a little bit more of a character in this one. In the first one, he had a couple of just Liefeldy non-quips. And as far as the cover goes, this is, I mean, maybe one of Rob's better covers. Actually, there's some stuff going on. There is not just a guy standing there whilst heads float around him. The heads are floating, but we've also got some action going on in the foreground. And that's a departure for Rob. Usually, if he has to come up with something in sort of inventive and different, he just goes and copies a ROM cover. But this is okay. Although, I will point out, even in this kind of mosaic-looking thing, we can't even pretend to do backgrounds. We got to get some screen doors, even in the little X windows. So, let's get into it here. This cover's a little floppy, so I'm a little curious how well this shows up. I wasn't going to pay full price for this shit. So I got a slightly damaged copy, I think. That's okay. Long as I can see the artwork. Because I'm sure it's shit not here for the writing. So we're going to kick things off with Kane. Who's having an internal monologue, as Rob characters usually kick off a book with. Because there's nothing more badass than a dude thinking to himself, man, I'm very badass. Such as, they find the target, they point the gun, they pull the trigger. I'm the bullet. Now, that isn't necessarily a Robism because Fabian Nicieza is doing the script on this. It feels like a Rob line, though. So, Tolliver has hired a bunch of goons to hijack a shipment, and he sent Deadpool along to go and escort. And Kane is going to leap in and punch things. And we're going to start off with some pretty traditional Rob compositions with our vertical panels. Yeah, this is not too long after the Spider-Man series where Todd is doing that on every page one, right? And then him and Rob are talking on the phone. They're exchanging notes. So Rob seems to kind of take a lot of his cues from Todd. This leap's okay, as far as a Rob leap goes. I don't see anything really standing out here. And then we get a 2-page spread. Imagine that. Oh, can I get it to stay down? A little bit. And this is going to be a big, long fight. Because this is all done Marvel method, which means Rob goes and draws the pages, then hands them into Fabian Nicieza, who tries to come up with some word balloons to kind of fit around the characters. And that's everything. So crashes into Deadpool, gives him a smack. Deadpool starts to choke him out, punches him again anyway. Keeps raising this right hand and then not hitting him with it. All the action looks okay. And this is kind of the first appearance of Deadpool as a smart mouth, I would say. Last time we would have seen him would have been in New Mutants 98, which was his first appearance. And he has a couple of kind of half quip, half badass lines, intended to be badass lines anyway. Here he's more running his mouth a lot. So we're getting closer to the character he would become. It does bug me just how much Rob crows about how he created Deadpool. When it's like, I guess kind of. Like, he created the costume, which was, Todd was on the phone with him talking about how great it was to be drawing Spider-Man. And Rob was like, yo, I'm going to draw a Spider-Man costume too. Only we won't make him Spider-Man, but I really like Deathstroke the Terminator. So he's going to be Deathstroke the Terminator in a Spider-Man costume. And he talks a lot. And that's a character. And that's a fine place to start. And if Rob had continued drawing the character from there, and maybe developed him to the point where he got to... See, that's the thing. The Deadpool that's popular isn't this Deadpool. Not really. It's the Joe Kelly Deadpool from the 97 series, when Deadpool was a joke. And it was a book that kind of limped along, and nobody had the heart to kill, I guess. And they basically let them have free reign. So Joe Kelly started throwing in fourth wall jokes because he enjoyed that shit. And that was what started to propel the character. That's where you got all the fucking taco jokes and fucking, I don't even know what. I didn't read that shit. And, I mean, that's 97. That's pretty early in the character's evolution. And that's what they've been building on ever since. Rob created a costume. That's, it's... Like, I remember running this by a guy before, and he was saying that, it's like, well, that's like complaining that Steve Ditko co-created Spider-Man. It's like, Steve Ditko drew Spider-Man for a while. For a few dozen issues before he left because he was just done with Marvel. It's like, no, I think he created that character. Or, Jack Kirby creating the entire Marvel Universe. It's like, well, some of them he only drew for a couple of issues. Yeah, but he also wrote those issues. I don't know. I guess it's a bit of a point. If Rob would ease up a little bit, I think I wouldn't have too much of a problem with it. But he's just so adamant on, look at these great characters I created. I am an IP generator, just like Kirby. I don't think he's ever said that. That's just something I assume he thinks. That's a conclusion I've come to. Could be completely baseless, but that's just the impression I get. I get a lot of impressions about Rob. He's not subtle when he talks, so I feel like that gives people license to do that. Oh, by the way, everything here is fine. I realize we've been kind of sitting on this page for a while I ranted about Rob. That might be this entire week. I'm not going to lie. Maybe I'll get it all out of my system in this particular video. We'll have to see. If you have Rob, counter arguments, feel free to drop them in the comments. I do enjoy a good Rob debate. But yeah, this all looks fine. This is the kind of stuff I can see an 11-year-old picking up and going, yo, this is so awesome. Speed lines everywhere, lots of punching. Awkward kick, not too bad. More awkward kick. That one I don't think I can defend. No backgrounds. We're starting to get some screen doors here. We'll have to get used to that. And another punch. Like, again, this is okay. This is not one of his better pages in this book. But it's, it's whatever. It's fine. I do not remember a Star Trek trading card set in the least. That said in 1990. I don't think I was watching Star Trek, so that would explain it. I mean, I don't know. Did you want narration for what's going on? He jumped. And oh, looks like there was a punch in here. It's a little hard to tell because Deadpool is crossing over into every panel on the page. This one here, even. That is a choice. It's, I think, completely ineffective. And in fact, it just helps to confuse the reader. But it is very interesting. Like this big panel here. And then this diagonal panel that leads right to Deadpool. It's like, oh, that's where but wait, that's where the punch came from. Oh, wait, but where's, it's a pretty bad page in terms of composition. It's kind of confusing as hell, but I do kind of enjoy looking at it. And somewhere in the narration here, Kane talks about how Deadpool's over the hill. He's got to be pushing 35 by now. Meanwhile, fucking Kane, with his receding hairline and his 5,000 lines on his face. Yeah, no, he's definitely a young'un. But, again, Rob Liefeld's not supplying the dialogue. Fabian Nicieza's got to come up with something. Somewhere in there, Kane got knocked into boxes because that is one of the few bits of background Rob will draw. And he shoots his hand at Deadpool. There's a whole lot of dialogue in between. That's fine. But this gives him an opportunity to draw less hands, theoretically. Now, he did draw the hand there, didn't he? I'm not sure what it's doing. This is just like cut like Thing from the Addams Family. But yeah, we get a shot of Kane in all of his glory. So, with the high collar and the latter-day Star Trek movie turtleneck, in addition to the high collar. All right. Short sleeve, half jacket. Colossus arms. Yep. Little tiny dancer gloves. Leg strap full of pockets. All over a body stocking. And I don't know how to shade this and not make it look like a dick. So I'm just going to hatch until my arm gets a little tired. And then I'm going to move on. And I like this. He wanted to shake things up a little bit. Screen doors was starting to get old already. So scribbles, that's better. Definitely. And I don't mind the composition on this page so much. Although the problem is now that we're not punching, so Rob has to draw people standing and talking. The actual panel layouts are fine. The vertical to kind of a side vertical, that reads fine. Over here, and then a blank. Yeah, I like all of that. Fine. And naturally, Bridge has been watching this whole scene because he doesn't trust Kane to carry out the job. Because that's just a classic that Rob loves. Oh, here, the screen doors are back. The screen doors are everywhere. They're infesting the dockyard. And they're going to just yell back and forth about how, you're too green, kid. You got to let me go. You got to let me off the leash. I'm putting together a team, but you're too green. You going to come join the green team? And one thing I noticed here is I'm pretty sure I have heard about how Rob would do his pencils on Post-it notes and then blow it up. That definitely looks like something like this. Whenever you see this really thick inking here, I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. Same with these really thick screen doors. And then, after they're done exchanging cliches, turns out Deadpool is teleported away. And Kane is going to leave now too. And next time you want to help me, don't. And we had a really weird sound effect here with wisp wisp. And then we're going to cut to the Adirondacks, where X-Force is training. It's issue 1. We must be training. We got to have excuses for fights to happen, but we don't have the patience to set up a storyline, so they're just going to pretend to fight each other, and that is drama. It's conflict. Also, it gives everybody a chance to stand around in the woods in their various poses. I will give him some credit here. One of the things I've really noticed about Rob is that he has a lot of difficulty making it look like multiple people are on the same plane, but I didn't notice that too much in my first read-through on this. This panel in particular looks pretty good for that. And, you know, he's even doing some foliage. Like, it's a basic kind of foliage, but it's fine. You know, this is the kind of thing Jim Lee might put together, really, probably with more detail, with a little bit more variety, but that's totally acceptable. So the deal here is that Feral is out in the woods, and they got to go look for her and subdue her, but if she tags them, they're out. That sounds about right. So, oh, I think wide Cable is my favorite Cable. Whenever Rob has to draw like a badass shot of Cable, he looks like he's about 4 feet wide. So we're going to get a bit of narration introducing everybody, which I'm a little surprised at in a Rob book. Because normally what you do in a Rob book is you introduce everybody in issue 1, and then you assume everybody's familiar with everybody. Which is, I mean, there's actually arguments for both. But, you know, we get one by one. You know, Boom Boom, Warpath, Domino, Shatterstar, Inbred, Cannonball, with his fucking cross eyes here, and Cable, of course. And they all go zooming off into the woods. Meanwhile, Feral's up hiding in trees. This is meant to be her tail here. I'll take his word for it. And again, we're kind of approximating what a tree might look like. We're not trying too hard, though, because, again, I think this background is blown up. So, leaps on Cannonball as he rockets by. I like the Dutch angle. You get a few Dutch angles going on here. Actually, most of them. Even stuff like this, where we're just having guys standing around. He makes it a bit more interesting by just tilting the camera a little. I mean, that's a good way to go, and one I always have trouble with. So, you know, I'm not going to fault him on that one. So, yeah, jumps on his back and directs him into Warpath. They have time for a nice conversation before they collide. Oh my god. His eyes are just drifting away. I think this is a Liefeld thing where he draws the eyes far apart. I mean, I think this was an effort to draw them closer together, and he just kind of overcorrected. So Feral's beaten these two, I guess. Boom Boom is going to show off her new wrist launchers for her time bombs. Sure. And I've already lost track of whatever the rules of this game are. Because it looks like Boom Boom theoretically should have tagged Feral there or subdued her. But now Feral's just going to attack and stuff. I think that's the point, is that she's too animalistic to play like touch football kind of thing, where she just has to go hard all the time because she's an ex-Morlock or something. And again, we are not going to try on these trees. I refuse. Nobody's looking at my damn trees. They just need to be there to take up a bit of space. So scribble, 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 scribble. So jumps Boom Boom. Eric Larson draws some X-Men characters. I'm down. I wouldn't mind seeing that book. 1990, Eric Larson drawn X-Men. That might have been okay. Grabs her, directs her wrist launcher at Cable. Something. Domino rushes, but Feral still... Like, again, I don't know what the rules of this game are. So they're just kind of trying to attack Feral, but she keeps, like, punching them for real. That's kind of it, really. And then Shatterstar shows up. And Shatterstar is Rob's most badass creation at the time. I don't think he's completely enamored with Deadpool yet. When this is released, it'll be a couple of years. It won't be until Deadpool becomes popular that's when Rob's going to start claiming credit. But we get some decent shots of Shatterstar and his stupid helmet that Rob loves. That's a great close-up shot for Rob. One of the things I can't really fault him on are his close-up shots. You know, they're not realistic or anything, but they do look cool sometimes. So Farrell pounces, but Shatterstar also does not play. So he's gonna smack her, and like, you know, this is some good action stuff. I mean, this is like a low angle shot with a Dutch angle. That's pretty good. It's pretty effective. I've seen it complained. There's that top 40 worst Liefeld images, and I think this one is included because it looks like her tail's kind of coming out of her ass cheek. But I mean, if you look at it, no, it looks like that's actually a perspective thing. It's coming up from her tailbone. That's okay. There are shots like this where it looks more like a belt that just didn't get buckled. But yeah, that's fine. Like, everything on this spread is actually pretty good. It's pretty solid. I even looked to see if there was maybe somebody else inking on this, because it seems much more together than his later stuff. Like when he's getting to the end of his X-Force run, when he's working on Youngblood, when he's doing Captain fucking America, it's a sloppy mess. And he's not trying like half the time, but you know, he's trying here. He's kind of going for it. Sam tries to get Farrell to calm down. We're just playing. And Farrell, as stated, Farrell is in place, so she slashes open his chest or stomach or something. And that's taking things too far. It's inducing screen doors. We're trying to avoid this kind of behavior. So, Cable stuns her, kind of tranquilizes her, something like that. And they take Cannonball back for medical treatment. I would say this is mostly okay. This is unclear about what exactly is going on, but it's tough to get away with slashing open one of your character's guts in a 1990 Marvel comics. So I think in that case, you're kind of trying to do what you can. And I wonder, because this particular storyline, I'm going to call it that, because it does go on for several issues, does lead into Spider-Man number 16, which is the last Spider-Man drawn by Todd, where he threw a tantrum because he wasn't allowed to show a sword going into Juggernaut's eye. And I wonder if this has anything to do with that. Like I said, I know Rob and Todd are talking a lot at this time. And if Rob is complaining about how he couldn't put in real violence because the editors wouldn't let him, and Todd was like, well, I'm the writer and the artist on mine. There's nothing they can do on my shit. And then put it in, and then, they made a fucking mockery of that page, and then, fuck it, then I'm done with comics. And we're going to cut back to a balcony on the World Trade Center. This is 10 years prior. And Black Tom is summoning somebody. And that's it. And then cutting back to X-Force headquarters. I think it's Grey Malkin, if I recall correctly, where Cannonball is starting to recuperate. And we're going to get... these are also pages that feel like they were drawn on Post-it notes. All of the line work is very basic and blown up looking. And, widely spaced. I think what he does is he does like basic sketches, and then goes in and touches up a little bit with like microns and shit. I'm not for sure. Honestly, I can kind of see why he does it, because a lot of the construction looks better when he does it that way. Like, this is a better looking Cable than you usually see. This shot of Cannonball, I would almost suspect that. Cable here, too. I would honestly suspect this entire panel was drawn by somebody else. It looks better than Rob can do. It does look better than Rob. I don't know actually if Rob did this panel. I've never seen him do faces and shit that look like this. I'm now actually starting to doubt. Because we're pretty close to Rob bringing in extra help. That'll be the end of this particular week. Anyway, Cannonball's all better now. So back to the World Trade Center, where Black Tom is still summoning things. And summon, boom! This is Chris Eliopoulos on this one, in case you couldn't tell. Something happened. Oh shit, it's the Juggernaut, so naturally we need a vertical double page splash we're not going to draw enough to fill a vertical double page splash. Well, we're going to put it in there anyway. And we are hitting that comic this week. That is all vertical double page shit. So get ready for that one. But yeah, the Juggernaut is back. And next issue, we get Twin Tower Takeover guest starring Spider-Man. We get Rob Liefeld's Spider-Man, which is hilarious. And that... Series 2. That's the good shit. Series 1 and 2 are both very, very good for slightly different reasons. But that is going to do it for X-Force number 2. Overall, I would say one of Rob's better efforts. He seems to do well with number 2s, because Youngblood number 2 was also pretty good. Probably the best Youngblood book. So, okay, I mean, if this is the quality of art that we can expect from Rob over the course of this week, then I would say that that would influence my opinion on Rob a little bit. Because this was like high quality Rob. There was a lot of action going on, and most of it looked fairly cool. Like for Rob's standards. It's not, I wouldn't go so far as to call it badass, but it does feel like something's going on it pretty much every page. Even though, if you were to look back, like if you were to look at a plot synopsis, it would be like 2 lines long. Nothing fucking happened in this book. Kane fought Deadpool. X-Force fought Feral. Black Tom summoned Juggernaut. The end. But anyway, yeah. X-Force number 3 and 4, I did have back in the day. So I'm interested to see how those hold up now. I mean, why did I buy those books? Why did I buy those books? I don't remember now. Do they maybe hold up? Is the secret of Rob's success hidden in those books? It must be. Because I haven't found it yet. It's fucking Rob. Anyway, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification so you know when the next one's coming out. It's tomorrow. We're doing a different book every single day this week. I'm doing 5 videos. I don't know if my brain might dissolve with all of the Liefeld. So come and pay for my medical bills by going over to my Patreon and subscribing there. As an added bonus, you'll also get access to these videos before they get uploaded to YouTube, usually a week or so in advance. By the time we get to episode 5 of this one, it'll probably be the day before, just saying. Also, you'll get access to all of the Blood Force stuff that I've produced, so all the pages, all the finished comics, as well as some Patreon exclusive content. Then you go over to my Instagram and DM me for some commissions, and I will scrawl some shit and mail it back to you. No, I will work on those. If you're paying me for commissions, I'm going to spend some time on those, even if it's from a hospital bed. But yeah, that's going to do it. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. I don't end these videos this way. Bye-bye.